On an open board, the queen has tons of different spaces to go to, tons of options. The more pieces we put in front of the queen, be it ours or our opponent's, the less spots the queen has to move. One way to catch a queen or slow it down is to move other pieces in the way and force it to move, which allows us to set up tempo and improve our position. Another way to go after the queen is to basically use tactics such as the pen, the fork, the skewer, or even look to set up combo moves where there's multiple threats. Ideally, they involve a check. Let's walk through some actual examples. In this spot right here, black has yet to develop around its queen. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pawn,
check,
putting the king in check. Now it should probably block with the bishop. Again, it would be defending with its queen. Our idea would be to go ahead and take there. And yeah, black can shore up the position, but okay. We've got something like this where we can eyeball the queen in limited space and then do some other stuff. Instead, what black decides to do is to trade queens. This is protected, but we've got a way around this. What we're going to do is we're going to go to d8 and put the king in check.
Check.
That's going to force the king to f7. Why is that important? Well, we have this knight that can go to g5, checking and forking.
Check.
Both the queen and the king. And now the king's got to move. And then we can simply take the queen right there. In this spot, our idea is to try to trap white's queen to its king or pin it. So we got a castle. But before we do that, we want to trade off some pieces, get some pressure. This gives us a lot of options, having the queen here. We got to be careful, though. It's a double-edged sword. Our idea is to threaten f2. If the queen leaves, we've got queen f2 check. White decides to counter that with its own check. Okay, we block. Now white goes back to protect. Now we castle. Now we set up our own threat. Now white's going to come up with a counter. It's got discovery on our queen. If it moves the knight, it's got discovery there. We lay our trap. Okay. Problem is, yeah, we can win material here, but I like to have my queen so I can win the game. So instead of taking with the queen, decide to back off, look for something else, decide to push with a pawn. Okay, we're going to take with a pawn in this spot. Now, of course, if our queen is taken, we can exchange queens. We'll lose material here. We don't want to do that. We've got our own little trap here set up. We're going to take with the other bishop, overloading on the queen. Now the queen moves via check. Okay. Number of ways this could be defended against. What we're going to do is we're going to check with our queen in this spot. And the idea is to sacrifice the bishop. If black, or if white had taken in this spot, we hit the rook with a queen. Okay. Now we can slide our other rook in. And this can be played a number of ways. Decided to check with the bishop. Decided to check with the queen. This, I probably could have come out this from a different route. I think rook d8 to d2 works to win the bishop here. But as played, we end up getting the queen in the spot, and then we're able to find a checkmate pattern here within a couple of moves and win the game as well. Here, our opponent's pawn is pinned to the king, and it has two pieces attacking it in the bishop and the knight. It's got enough defenders. What it wants to do is get its rook out to e8, and it also wants to remove the defender, but not worry about the back row, so it decides to move its king out. Okay, this is a huge opportunity for us because we have a bishop that goes to a lot of squares. It also guards f1. That's where we're playing the rook, and this is going to trap the queen. It doesn't totally trap the queen, but you know, the queen has to defend basically f7. Now it could push the pawn here, but then no more queen. Okay, if it pulls the queen all the way back to, let's say, here, well, guess what? We've got something like this with discovery, you know, or if black takes, we've still got
check.
that winning material, maybe not winning the queen. But if the queen goes all the way back here, well, guess what? We've also got this, and now, you know, the king can't really move, and we're going to win material there. So as played in the game, what black decided to do was just take with the rook and trade off that way. But getting pressure on the queen either results in a very good position, or, I mean, there's a lot of dilemmas for black in this spot. One way to catch an opponent's queen is by simply removing the defender. In this case, it's white to move. We want to take the queen, but that's not going to work. What we're going to do is we're going to try to remove the defender by checking with the rook. This gives a big dilemma for black. Black's in check. It basically has four options with its king. It can take right here. We take. If it moves out of the way, well, guess what? We've got this, or we've got this, and we've got a mating pattern. In this spot right here, black's queen has two defenders, the king and the knight. We're going to try to find a way to remove those. And the idea is to take the pawn to open up some space. We don't want to trade queens, we want to take the queen. So we're going to go ahead and check with the bishop.
Check.
That removes one of the defenders. Now we're going to check with the knight.
Check.
If knight takes, we got it.
Check.
If knight doesn't take, let's say black goes here, back
check.
there, we can check with a queen.
Check.
And remember, yeah, black can block with a pawn, but we can go here.
Check.
And now if black goes here,
checkmate.
Yeah, checkmate. If instead,
check.
If black goes here,
check.
We can check with a queen. It's going to force the king into one spot here. And now there's a lot of different things we can do. We can go, let's say,
check
right here. It's going to force black there. Now remember, our knight is protected, so we want to funnel this thing down. We can push
check
right here, funnel it down further, and then we can push with the other pawn.
Check.
Or we can push with the knight, get it into a corner, and then we finish
checkmate
right there.
Check.
As played in the game, how exactly did we win the queen after the check? Well, black decided to go here.
Check.
We checked.
Check.
And then we went for the queen, which is another option. Black decided to take the knight, and then we took the queen right there. Not a mating pattern, but we did get the queen in that spot. Our opponent brings out their queen early. My plan is to just try to develop and put pressure with the pawn. Then I notice they bring out the knight. The idea here is to take. And why do we take? Because we figure they're probably going to take with a knight. We're going to take with a knight as well. What's the idea here? Well, after queen takes, we're going to develop our bishop, but we're going to put it to e2. We're going to leave the pawn hanging. We're not going to protect it. It's a trap, okay? Black takes, we castle.
Kinside castling.
Now, black decides to develop its other bishop. Okay. we decide to stick our rook to e1, trying to set up a trap. Black sees this, decides to bring out its knight. I mean, it could have brought out its bishop to protect. It should move its queen here and get out of the way. So that's the problem with having your queen out early. If you get trapped in a situation like this, you probably shouldn't move it. There's a lot of options, but you don't want to be in front of the king. Okay, so black brings this knight out, so it's no longer in front of the king, but we still have this thing called discovery, and as long as we can get a check with the bishop, we're going to get discovery. So we're going to play bishop to b5.
Check.
And now black has 4 options. All of them result in losing the queen in that situation. If it plays king back here, well, boom.
Check.
If it defends with the knight,
check.
We got that.
Check.
If instead it defends with the queen, well, we're taking right there.
Check.
And we still have the knight pinned, so black resigns.